Yeah, turn the phones off while we on here. So what is up, YouTube? Storm Chasers today. I have a couple of my students up here. Yeah, what's going on? Let's talk. You guys can introduce yourselves to the people.
So I am Keisha, the first part of Let's Talk.
And I'm Stacy. I guess the second part of Let's Talk.
And the link to their channel is actually in the chat. So I have it starred. You guys keep introducing yourself and see if I can pin it.
Okay, awesome sauce. So we are, as Storm said, new to the YouTube world. We are starting out our channel, and we talk about relationship with your family, your children, and most importantly, relationship with your booze.
Yeah, so our channel basically started because we are friends. We've been friends for over 15 years now. Yes, we look like we're 15, but we're not. And it basically started just as, regular table talk amongst our girlfriends. And one of our friends actually said, you all should try recording this. And that's basically how it was birthed. This is just regular table talk, girl chat, and we're recording it for the world to see our conversations.
That is what's up. And like I said, they actually took I think it was a 2-hour consult or 1 hour.
Yes.
I don't remember. All right, yeah, 2-hour consult. So you will definitely be seeing them do their thing. And let's just hop right into the topic, okay? So
let's go.
If I got a kid and I'm out here dating, when is the appropriate time to introduce my kid to someone that I'm seeing?
So I'll start by saying it depends on how serious you are in a relationship. Mm-hmm. What we find nowadays is people are popping up, meeting someone 1-2 months, and now all their kids know them, and then it's a consistent cycle of every time you get a new man or a new woman, you're introducing. Mm-hmm. So how serious are you in this relationship with this person before you introduce them to your children? Because you want it to be someone you're thinking this relationship gonna go somewhere with. For me.
But I also think the age of the children are very important as well.
Okay, explain.
If you have a 9-month-old, a 1-year-old, and you're introducing this new guy, right. First of all, in this age of, the Rona, you have to be very careful who you're introducing to your children and allowing in your space for, just for health purposes. But I think, if your children are much younger, it's going to be a bit confusing, especially if this is a temporary person in your life. Now, if they're older, you can have that conversation with them. They can understand. But also, don't be the parent that you're introducing every John, Dick, and Harry to your kids. Literally. And now they're looking at you sideways like, but Mom, Uncle Paul was just here a week ago.
Now, what happened to him? Sally, Jane, and Mo.
Uncle Paul was just here. Now, who is this? Now, let me ask your opinion on this. Well, let me get mine before we move on. I've always thought, okay, you go in threes, right? 3 months of consistent dating, then okay, are we serious? What are we doing? Then 6 months, maybe, you meet the family, whatever. I would like it to be close to a year of you dating. That might not always be realistic. Because eventually it's like, okay, we ain't trying to go out every time we go on a date. I can't spend the night every night. I got kids. So
That's right.
Y'all just gonna have to meet. This Bob, he gonna come over here and have Netflix. Well, watch Netflix, and he gonna blow mommy back out, but we ain't gonna talk about that part. So, what do you guys think about pregnant women that date? That is something I have seen on the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, and I'm just like, wow.
I'm a very spiritually in tune individual. I don't think that, because I don't believe in everyone needs to be rubbing your belly. I like even naming my children. I did it after they were born, 2 or 3 days after, because I wanted to see my children. I wanted to have that connection with them. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend a pregnant woman to date, especially if the relationship with the father of the child may still be questionable.
Yes.
And just overall, you're growing a fetus. You're growing another person. They can hear, they can feel, they can taste and touch. They can do all of these, and you're putting some other energy and vibe in that space. I think it's very sacred, growing a child in your womb, and you have to be very careful. And I wouldn't recommend it at all.
at all. Like, I'm going to agree with her in the point of, and then how does it look for you as a woman to, like, okay, everybody know I just got pregnant over here with his baby. Now I'm dating him, and he has no care or concern for the child that I'm growing in my body. He, as you just said, he's just ready to blow somebody back out. So he's not going to take the time and the care to nurture me like I need and to be there. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule. There are some exceptions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what would be the exception? What would be the exceptions in the case?
So here's the exception. I have seen people who started dating when they were maybe further along in pregnancy and the relationship lasted. So I know a couple people like that. However, that person had been interested in them for quite some time. That person really wanted to be with them. So in essence, they were ready to take on the responsibility of assisting with the child, being with the child. So for that mother, I understand. But for me, if you're not sure where this relationship is going and you just met him the other night at the club.
But even in that first instance where this guy is actually, doing well, would you recommend they have sex? I would say no.
I would say no, but
I would say no.
But I was reading a lot of them comments, and it was a while back when I saw the story, and it was like, I'm pregnant, I'm going on a date. It was a bad date. It was something like that. But I saw a lot of comments where people was like, well, she needs some loving too, and if the daddy ain't around, it is what it is. And I'm just like, I couldn't.
No,
we're both mothers. When you're pregnant, it's like, it's just no. It's not a good look. One, because like she said, you just lay down with someone to get pregnant. Two, you really need to be focusing on the health of your baby, your mental health, preparing for this baby, getting ready to have a new life, because a child will change you. Why are you so worried about a man introducing? Because then you need time to get to know this person. And now you're adding additional stress, headache, learning someone, figuring them out, possible baggage. Why do all of that to your body when your body's already changing and going through its own transformation? That's just too much. You're doing too much while you're pregnant. Sit down somewhere.
And most of the time, the mother is seeking something. They don't fully know who they are, so they're seeking something. They're looking for someone to love them the way they don't feel like they're being loved. And instead of taking that time, like Stacey said, to really get to know who you are, instead of going out there looking for someone else to love you and care for you and do all this stuff. And most of the time, that man's not going to do it.
And that's why your support people are very important. Instead of you seeking some type of romantic relationship to fulfill that void or desire to have someone, it's important to seek out your support people, your girlfriends, whether, you go into a support group or a lactation group or whatever, but seek out other people who can support you through this pregnancy, because that's very important. One thing about women is, if you get pregnant the traditional way, we know nowadays it's
you get pregnant all kind of ways nowadays.
But if you get pregnant the traditional way with a guy that you saw a future with, or you may have planned it, but you're just not together anymore, every woman wants the father of their child to be involved in the pregnancy. And sometimes we just don't get that. So it's important to seek out other people who can still provide that sense of security and protection and love and compassion, and still be able to, impart that in you.
And I see someone put a comment up about postpartum, and it made me think, a man getting in a relationship with a woman that's pregnant doesn't necessarily understand the mood swings that are about to happen after you have this baby. You may not even like him anymore.
You don't want to have
sex. You might not.
Right.
That's so true. That is, and it's like, well, thank you for helping me through labor, but you can go now. Like, that would be definitely terrible. So okay. So speaking of that, right? We have this thing, and I hate to say Black community, so I'm gonna say Black population, because we don't all live in the same community.
Facts.
Black men blame Black women for our single motherhood rates. Black women say no, it's on the men. Whose responsibility is it to prevent these unwanted children?
Like I watched Divorce Court when Judge Lynn Toller was on. She said, women, you have to take control of your fertility. If you don't want any children, don't have them. Don't think that a man is just going to automatically jump up and be father of the year, superhero. As married women, we can tell you that the father of your children doesn't necessarily, they may do well. Our husbands are great dads and etc. But you always feel like they can do more because it takes a lot to take care of children, especially when they're very young. You probably have them back to back, whatever the case may be, but it takes a lot of effort, time, mental capacity to take care of children. So you always feel like you need more. So women, I would say, take control of your fertility, please. If you don't want them, don't have them.
I would say have a conversation. First off, we're not having conversations anymore. We're moving straight into sex. Yes. We haven't asked this person, do they want to have kids? Yes. We haven't asked this person what their family structure looks like. We haven't asked this person, how did they grow up? And they already have kids that they ain't taking care of. And we're going to have babies with them again. But we expect, oh no, he going to take care of mine. He ain't taking care of them.
Or are you crazy? We don't even ask people that. Are you crazy? Yeah. You see who a person really is once you pop that baby out.
Yes, you do.
And listen, I don't want to, lean too much on the men because we're not about male bashing. That's one thing about our channel. We love our Black men specifically. But I have seen in the line of work that I have done in the past, a lot of these children with ADHD, with developmental delays, with behavior issues, check out their dad. The apple don't fall from the tree.
I've seen that too. You would I would meet the kid. I got the caseload. I'm getting to know him, and then you got to call the parents. So you got to meet face to face with them, and you see the parents, and you like, oh, this baby didn't have no chance.
No chance at all.
Like, and I hate to say that because that's another human life that's going to be an adult one day. But it's just like, you fucked. I don't know what to tell you. These are your parents. Oh wow.
But that's why it's important to remember every single person that you have sex with can possibly be the mother or father of your child. I don't care, condom or not.
But let's go here. Go ahead. Let's go here because we on the men. Let's go here. There are some mothers that fathers are actively trying to be in their children's life, and you don't want to be with me no more, so you can't see your child. That's another aspect of. You may not be in a relationship, but you should be able to co-parent effectively with that person and take yourself and your own emotions out of it. I may not like the way this relationship ended, but for the sake of my child, I'm going to figure out a way to co-parent effectively with you so that we're raising a productive citizen.
Today, and it shouldn't be that hard. If you guys are broken up, it really shouldn't be that hard. But what be getting me is this. I used to always hear, well, I don't like that he spanks. I don't like that he lets him stay up late. I don't like this. I don't like that. But he was like that before y'all broke up. Why is it an issue now?
And guess what? It's not your house. So there are rules that happen in my home. There may be rules that happen in your home. Effective co-parenting says we're going to agree on the major ones together, but those little things like that are not my business. Like if they want to stay up.
Storm said he doesn't think that is so hard. Why is it hard? It's not because of the child. It's hard because of y'all, the relationship that y'all have. However, the breakup happened. If this person has another person in their life, I think the parents make it more difficult than what it should be.
That's true.
I think so too.
They still have feelings for each other.
I think so too. Kizzy said, I can't accept that. It is an excuse. There is a court system for that. But for me, and I understand getting things in writing, getting the understanding, the mediation, I understand it. But then there's also a level to that of wow, once you get in front of a judge, it seems very matter of fact. It's not. I don't know.
How many men and women don't follow the orders that the judge gives?
Right.
In my line of work, they never followed it.
Exactly. And they're fighting again. So it is about, for me, effective communication, being mature, mature enough to say, this isn't about me and you anymore. This is about us. And that's when you start to see, you probably weren't old enough to have this baby anyway, because y'all not ready to parent effectively.
That is
unplanned pregnancy. That's a risk factor.
And that's most of us. I stand in that gap of being an unplanned. I didn't plan my first daughter, and then boom, we're here, and the father and I are battling consistently until one of us figures out, you know what, this is not necessary. Who's going to be the bigger person? I'm not going to fight with you about what's happening at your house, because what happens at my house is important. I'm not going to be arguing back and forth because my child sees that. I'm not going to be talking negatively about, even if I know what is a fact and it's true. I took the approach, I'm not even going to say it, because guess what? Them kids get grown and they figure out everything on their own. So then they'll come to you and say, Mommy, did you know? Or Daddy, did you know? And you like,
and it's like, yeah, I knew.
But I wanted you, because you don't want to take that relationship.
Yeah.
Now, this is the issue. I can even say like that. My mom dealt with, not only did she have issues with my dad, but my dad's family as well. So how do you deal with, it's already hard enough just trying to co-parent with your baby daddy, but now his sister's overbearing, or his brother got a issue, or the grandmama, you know, on the daddy side is saying, you ain't doing it right, and you're wrong, this and that. So how do you deal with a dysfunctional family at that point? How do you deal with it?
I say find an ally. There's somebody in that family, whether it's a neighbor that's known them for 40 years, the pastor, first lady, second cousin, you know, removed twice, or whatever the case may be. Find an ally in the family who can help for you to for them to mediate or to be the liaison between you and that dysfunctional family. It has to be someone that you can lean on, that you trust, and has some decent sense enough to, you know, mend the fences.
Yeah.
So find an ally.
Yeah. I like that.
And they may not always agree with you, that ally, but you find that one person, like she said, that you know, they have the child's best interest at heart. I know for me, that worked for me. Finding that one person that we agreed, and we may have agreed to disagree about his character. We may have agreed to disagree about the parenting style, but at the end of the day, the child was important. So I was able to say, you know what, you come pick her up and drop her off. Right. You drop her off to me when we weren't able to communicate with each other. And then eventually it grows to, you know what, okay, we got this.
I like that. I like that. You know what? That actually sounds very logical and simple. I don't know why I never thought about that. Find an ally in that family. Basically, find a mediator.
Yes.
That can be fair. Because you do got some family members like, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna tell you when you're right and when you're wrong. Like,
right. And that's who you find.
Right. Yeah.
Because there are some.
That's true. There are. So let me ask you guys this. You know, after going through 2020, then 2021, people are lonely out here. They lonely. And so we have lost, in my opinion, due to like Instagram, Tinder, all these apps that then came out in the last, I say like 12 years. If you are 35 and under, you have really lost the art of dating, how to date, how to even just talk to somebody. Like if you see people on a date, I don't even know the last time I saw somebody on a date actually. Do people just date, or do they just smash and watch Netflix? I don't know. But
it depends on the person.
It depends on the person. But it's like you would see them on a date and they both on their phone. It's just very awkward. And so if you are under 35, you know, you ain't having no luck with these dating apps because you don't look like an IG model, or you don't look like a basketball player. What are you to do? For the average person, what should they do? So
we kind of had a conversation about this on our page recently. We did a dating series where we talked to some singles about what they were going through. We talked to single women and single men. And honestly, I think their lack of communication with each other is because they don't really see each other for the value that the other person can give to them. As you said, they're looking at, okay, can I get flued out with this person versus can this person provide me security? Right. Yes. Is this person a hardworking man? I know on our show, we had a big issue with people saying they don't want the nice guy. The women was like, we don't want the nice guy. Don't nobody want a nice guy. And we were like, wait, what? But why do we assume that because you're a nice guy, you're not nice looking? Because you're a nice guy, you're not hardworking, you won't love me. You soft. Like, there are nice guys out here that fit the description of what people want. And I think men and women alike have to get these superficial things out of their mind and let's start living in reality. Going on a date. As Stacey already pointed out, we're married. My husband and I have made an active choice that when we go out on a date, our phones are down, face down, or put away. And my husband said to me, because when we're on our phones talking, what that tells the other person is you're not important to me.
That's right.
When I have my phone right here, if somebody more important calls me, I need to be readily available. And so we disconnect, even with the children. Hey, mommy and daddy going on a date? Don't call.
Don't call me for 2 hours. Don't call me for 2 hours. And,
right.
And if you did, then you did. I'll handle it later.
And
no, I'm done. I'm playing. But
so they need to have conversation. Yes. They need to be deliberate about, you know what, I'm not going to engage with anyone else. I remember a couple of weeks ago, we went out to a brunch. Matter of fact, it was a birthday brunch for me. And we sat in the restaurant and I was like, wow. And all we saw was
right.
Like nobody was talking, nobody interacted, everybody was on the gram, like doing a video to show where they were. And the value of not even being with just a significant other, but the value of being with your friend was lost because all you wanted to do was show people what you were doing.
But you're bored.
And take pictures of your food, and it's like you will see.
But they're bored.
Like 30 pictures of their food, and it's like your food getting cold. You could just like eat it. I don't know.
And in reality, they are bored. They're not interacting with each other. They have to look on social media or give this perception on social media that they're really living their best life and doing it big, when in fact, you can't even have a simple conversation with the person that's across from you. But I think, I saw one comment was saying that we're not speaking reality.
Yes, they are. You guys are speaking reality.
So what I can say is I'm speaking my reality. When I go out with my girlfriends, I want to talk to you. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. Like Stacey and I said, when we're talking, like we're really talking to each other. Yes. I want to have a conversation with my husband or my friends or my coworkers. I don't have time to be on my phone all the time because we do it enough. We wake up, we're on the phone. There has to be something set.
Now, albeit because we are in the 35 and over club, we grew up in a time where we didn't have cell phones. I still remember pay phones. I still remember the long cord phones. Like we still remember that. I still remember not having cable TV. I remember when cable TV started, so we're in that point where we know how it is to not have these cell phones, because I can leave my phone at home and drive off to work and come back 8 hours and not think twice about it. But also we understand the blessing and curse of it. But I think it's just very important that people are mindful as to what their expectations are. If you are expecting to find a man who is into you or a woman who is into you, then you have to be able to do the work as well. And sometimes those standards, ladies, we got to bring them standards a little bit lower. It's not settling.
It's not.
It's being realistic.
But the fact is, I read an article that said 80, I want to say, don't quote me, it said something like 86% of Black women will never be married. They'll be like single. Wow. And I was like, what? That was kind of high for me. Yeah. And it's like, we need to now tune into, okay, maybe some of the things we're doing isn't working.
I'm going to say this, though. Mm-hmm. Even when it comes to the Black dudes, it don't seem like they're marriage-minded either.
You said the Black who?
Dudes. The Black dudes. It don't seem like they're marriage-minded either. And I think it's because so many of us are brought up and our parents are not married.
Okay, because I was about to check you for a second, Storm. I know this is your show. And I watch you. I'm a storm chaser. Been pre-COVID.
Right.
But aren't you one of those dudes? I'm not getting married now. I
am. No. I don't hide myself. They already know about me in the chat. I promise you. I ain't trying to be funny. Mm-hmm. But it's because when you don't see it, you don't see it modeled, and then it wasn't preached for me. I was told to, you focus on education, you go to school, you get your money, you don't worry about settling down. So that wasn't preached to me, but it's just a consistent theme I see of just like, oh, we engaged, but you're not married. You have a baby. Oh, we're going to think about marriage, but you already got a baby. Why not?
That's true.
Or y'all already live together. Or you didn't live together for 10 years. Why not just get like I don't understand. So I don't want to just say, well, you know, maybe women need to do some different. It's also the men that they just don't see the need, or maybe it needs to be made a requirement.
Okay, that's what I was waiting to tell you. There has to be a requirement there, because in conversations that we had with men, we found most men are not just out to get married, but they know it's a requirement of the woman that they're dating. Like, okay, where are we going now? Where is this relationship going? And I think we have to stop being so afraid of losing them that we lose ourselves into a relationship that we don't really want, versus, okay, it's about time for us to get married. Like, what are we doing here? Because I don't want to proceed. And people aren't clear anymore. Women don't even know if they're in relationships with these men anymore.
First of all,
so you're with someone and you like, oh, is that your you know, something like that. Like, what does something like that mean? For me, I always tell women, look, you need to define, what is this? Are we in a relationship? Are we not in a relationship? Is this relationship monogamous, or are we seeing other people? Keyword, are we seeing other people? Not are you. Right. Are we seeing other people?
Because I'm going to too, because I was always told, so single until you married. So until you were married to him, I had an auntie that would say, she would say, I'm gonna still entertain niggas until I'm married.
If you're committed, no, I think if you're committed to the person and you all have made the decision, mutually made the decision to be exclusive, then you have to commit to that 100%. I do believe, you know, legally, you are single until you're married. However, if you are in a relationship with someone, if you're saying, I'm giving you my time and my energy, my money, my body, then I'm not trying to be doing that with everybody.
Yes.
But I wanted, okay, thank you, Rashi. I was going to say, because people were saying, did they tell us to just lower our standards? Yes,
explain
we did.
What you mean by that.
We did not say to settle, because that's a difference. Sometimes women's standards, and we are women, we hang with women. We're not those type of women that say, oh, I don't like being around women and I can't. No, I love being around women because that's who I am. That's my sister. I see myself in women. So we have a lot of conversations with women, and we hear some of these singles women's standards. They're just absurd. He has to be light-skinned. He has to be 6 feet tall. He has to make X amount of money. He has to this. He should not have any children. But you're 40 years old. You expect a 40-year-old man to possibly not have children. It's possible.
But it's rare. It's going to be
very rare.
Very
so
rare.
That's what we mean by standards. Be realistic. What if he is your height or maybe a tad bit shorter?
Does that mean he's not going to treat you well? Does that mean he's not going to do the right thing for you?
But what it really is, I understand biologically you want things in the potential father of your children. I get that. But then once you pass that stage, it really shouldn't matter. If homeboy got a belly, you can send him to the gym. If he dressed crazy, that's something easy for you to fix. Babe, you know, I just think you would look so good in these jeans. He gonna put them on.
That's what, Storm. Women don't know how to do that anymore. Mm-mm. You can get a man to do almost anything we want with the way you say it.
That's right.
You can't make them think you telling them.
Right.
But you have to make subtle suggestions.
Yes. Instead of saying like, why you wearing no bummy ass clothes? You look crazy in that for real. And your shoes ugly. And I hate your cologne.
Thank you. But Storm, why don't we try? Oh, baby, I got you this shirt. I think this would look so nice on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And they try it out, then they like it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. But Stacey said something earlier about the standards. Women out here asking men. I saw something, a woman said, oh, the man that dates her needs to make $300,000. But you ain't never dated a man that made $300,000.
Probably never met one with.
You don't make close to $300,000. Like most people don't. So let's be realistic about what we're asking of people. Let's be realistic. I also saw someone say about dating outside your race. Look at here.
Yeah, well, hold on for you guys get to that. Hold on for you. Because that's the last topic I want to hit. So hold on for you. Because I do want y'all opinion on that. But let's talk about the money thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We live in America.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in a society now where you can get on social media and become a millionaire overnight.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It has happened. That is not realistic for the majority of people.
It's not.
People that are, you work at the bank, you're a security guard, maybe you a principal. You go to work every day, you get a check every Friday or every other Friday.
Right.
That's what it is. The average income is what in America? Is it 52,000?
50 something. And I think they said the average Black man makes about 42.
So where's all these people that's making 300 and 400,000 a year? Like they make it.
Percenters.
Yes, it's like they make it seem like. I think in the Black population, we really don't have any role models, so we look to entertainers and we say, "Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for." Like the same thing Jada Waiter got. Well, you don't sell overpriced clothes on Instagram. You're not gonna make that kind of money. Like that's just not. You know what I mean? It's
but also we have to remember that there's a lot of jobs where you can make six figures that may not necessarily seem so pleasant.
Yes, people don't want to work anymore either. You can go work on an oil rig. You can go work for the electric company. You go work for the railroad.
Oh,
you can get into tech.
Oh, yes.
But Storm, let's talk about that. Most women don't want those types of men that work those blue collar jobs that you just mentioned. They want a white collar man that's going to an office every day. So the electrician that has no student loans and making $150 without having to pay anybody back is being overlooked.
I think a lot of those women do like those men because a lot of those men are super masculine that work those blue collar jobs.
True.
I just think most people are worried about what other people think because you want to be and look, when you securing yourself, you ain't like this, but I'm saying for younger people. Oh, so what does your boyfriend do? Oh, he works for BP. Oh my God. You want to be with a guy who works for BP? It's all about what it looks like, the image, the perception versus what it really is. If somebody think you broke or think you low class because your man worked for the post office, you can make $100K a year working at the post office.
You can.
When I worked at the post office, homeboy next to me had a GED and was making close to $100K a year.
And a lot of those other jobs have that, Storm. And we have to start looking at some of these men and stop saying they are not out here. They are not available to us. We need to look at somebody put truck drivers. Sure enough, those linemen that work online, electricians, plumbers. These men are out there, but they're being overlooked.
But also, I think sometimes people just don't know the salary that these people can make. So you've heard of these titles, you've heard of these positions, but you just don't know the salary. And so it can seem as if it's a turn off. But also a lot of these men, it may be grungy, very laborious work, but they can clean up pretty well also. So you can't even tell the difference. And it doesn't mean that they're less than smart. It doesn't mean that they're not intelligent. They can they may have their own business running that. They can have a conversation about politics. They can talk about history.
Yes.
It doesn't matter and they do that because they're smart. They know that I can save on the front end so I can get it on the back end. So you have to expand your horizon.
And also keep in mind, just because a man doesn't necessarily want to spend all his money and one sitting on you, it may make him financially wise. He might be thinking about your future versus spending all his money on a bag, and he has no security for you. If he died today, you left with a bag.
You left with some purses that you ain't got no money to put in that you're gonna now have to sell.
And quiet as it's kept, if you ain't his wife, you still ain't getting nothing.
Well, that's true. Oh shoot. Well, yeah, they don't want to hear that part, but that's very true. That's very true. It's gonna be going to his mama. Okay, so so last thing I wanted to hit on, interracial dating. Black men interracially date, black women interracially date, whatever. It is what it is. But how did you guys feel about the issue with Fresh and Fit, the podcast, where they said we ain't attracted to black women? Now they use a derogatory term, which they don't understand is actually a derogatory term towards them. Not but anyway, they ain't known for being smart or bright. Is it wrong when a black man is not attracted to black women? I want y'all opinion.
So I'll say this. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's if you're saying I want to date outside of my race. What's wrong is when you publicly say I wouldn't or I won't or I can't date a Black woman. And I know somewhere on there, I think one of them said, oh, and stop mentioning like, oh, you have a Black mom or a Black sister or something like that. But my thing is for you to be a Black man in America, your job, whether you like Black women or not, should be to uplift them. Mm-hmm. Because number one, if you go have a baby with this white woman, most likely your baby gonna be a little dark skinned. Mm-hmm. And she is or he is going to be Black. Mm-hmm. And so you want to keep in mind that you want to teach that respect level for them. I'm cool with it. It's not for me. And I tell women, listen, if you can't find a Black man and go find you somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying don't. You have to do what's best for you. But I also say don't lose who you are as a Black man or woman and understanding the value we bring to this relationship.
I just hate when they put the Black person down, whether it's a man or woman, for your preference. It's okay to prefer X, Y, and Z, person, nationality, but that doesn't mean you have to put me down. And then it's always the same, especially when it comes to Black women. It's always the same excuse. Oh, Black women got attitudes. Black women, always this and that. They're rough around the edges.
Damn.
They don't give head. Like
that's not true.
Listen, these Black women out here nowadays. That used to be back in the 90s. But nowadays, Black women out here with the giving head now. So I don't believe that.
I'm just saying, I know nobody said that ain't true. I hear you though. But see, it's always something derogatory towards the Black person, and that's what I don't like. Don't come on y'all public social media platforms and put us down. It's okay if you want someone else of a different race. That's who you fell in love with. Like they say, love is love. That's cool. Just like I fell in love with a Black man. I don't want you to feel like, oh, why is she dating just only Black men? That's because that's what I prefer. However, I'm not going to put another race down or another person down because that's my preference.
Right.
And also, you have to still be open-minded. Although I prefer Black men, am I going to say, God forbid if me and my husband doesn't work out, that I'm just going to cancel all nationalities? No, I'm not going to say that because, everyone deserves an opportunity to find love. And wherever you find it, as long as the person is treating you right, respecting you, not, abusing you mentally, physically, financially, etc., then why not give it an opportunity? But don't put other people down.
And listen, my last thing is don't go find a woman that emulates Black women. Like if you want a white woman, go get you like a real Becky, blonde hair, blue-eyed, slender. Don't go get one that just got her butt done, got her lips done. She walking around trying to get cornrows. And you're like, okay, are you serious right now? Everything that apparently you don't like on me, you like over there because it's on lighter skin. So
and you know what? I would almost respect if they just said that instead of trying to go around.
Be real.
Just be real with it. Now, if I was, I think I did ask my therapist that about that situation, and he said, well, whether they realize it or not, they are supporting white supremacy in those statements.
Listen,
and I was like, well, you ain't lying.
Someone's father I know told them, do not bring a white man to your house. Why? Because to their house, because their parents are going to call you the N-word. When they're mad at you, the parents are going to call you the N-word. And I've never been in that situation to know for sure, but I'm sure that's not too far-fetched. Let them get mad at the Black daughter-in-law or son-in-law. I bet you the N-word is flying around that house.
I remember when I was in school, it was this white dude. I mean, this was a trashy white dude too. This was a bumpkin, just something that would be in Smokey and I think it's Smokey and the Bandit, that movie from the 70s, the bumpkin. He was telling this mixed girl, he was like, yeah, I can bring you home, but just so you know, my grandmother's not going to address you as Brianna. She's going to call you the colored girl, but that's okay. That's just how she is. That's just what it is. And I was just like,
and
that's some people's reality.
And when we're dating outside of our race, we can't be afraid to set boundaries and say, no, this is how it's going to be. We can't be afraid to address any biases we see when we're going to these people home. A lot of times we're settling for it, and then we leave there and we're like, do you know what happened? No, we have to address these things because it will never end. And most of the time they'll be like, oh, I'm not racist. I'm not.
But then also on the flip side, if you're a decent human, a decent Black person, oh, you're a good one. Yeah. You're one of the good ones. You're not like them, and it's like, but it's a lot of us out here like that.
That's still insulting me. It's just like,
very much so.
That still ain't cool. I've heard that bullshit too. But we love you. Nah, you don't. Not talking like that. So, it's okay. So it's funny because in the last year, I never got these messages before, but in this last year, it's been really pushed on me. Like, make sure you marry Black. Make sure you marry Black. And I'm like, who said I wasn't? Like, who said I wasn't gonna do that? But I just noticed that image, that message started coming to me. But it was this is funny. It was coming from interracial couples.
Wow.
It was weird to me that I'm like, are y'all having regret in what? And it was like at the
Get Out.
Both of those couples, they were at like the 13-year mark. One is like at 15, one is at like, I think over 20. But they've been together.
The Black person in the relationship was telling you to make sure you marry Black?
The Black person did say that.
What does that tell you? There were some things that they went through along this journey that they wish they hadn't have done, and they're trying to save you.
Get out. Get out.
And the funny thing is, for one of the couples, the wife is now a full Hebrew Israelite, but the husband is white. And she told me to my face at the table, she said, well, white people are going to be serving us in heaven anyway. They're not real humans. I was just like, he right there.
And you're sleeping with this alien.
I was
something a little off with that one, Storm, but I don't know.
Look, I was in shock I was just like, whoa, okay. But it was funny because she told me, she said, you want to, because she does not refer to me as Black. She said, you're a Hebrew Israelite. You want to keep the bloodline pure and clean. And she said, by not doing that, because, if you're like ashamed of your features or something like that, she said that is all the work of the enemy. She said that is I was like, damn. I was just stunned.
I mean, I can understand. There are a lot of things you have to learn to understand when you're dating another cult or another race. Within a Black culture, if you date, like my husband is Haitian, I'm not. There were lots of things I needed to learn. And so imagine, and I'm a full Black woman. Imagine, and now a white woman coming, you have to even understand my experience. We can identify, my husband and I, on our experiences as Black people. We can identify with things that we do, cultural things that are just inherent to lots of Black people that we don't realize we all do, no matter where we're from.
Yeah,
sure.
But I think when you're bringing in another race, now you don't even understand what it's like for me to live in this skin. That's something, and I know people try, and hey, if it works for you, I'm cool with it. For me, I'm gonna get in trouble a little bit for this one, but I would want my child to bring home a Black woman.
I don't think that's wrong with that.
If they don't, I'm gonna ask why, because I want to make sure that you're not one of those men that say, oh, because I don't like them. I need to understand why. I need to understand, even in terms of being a colorist, I want my child, because I have some very light-skinned children and I have a very chocolate, beautiful baby. I want them to understand that although it's different, it's all the same. So one is not prettier because she's light, and one is, so we have those conversations. And I think mothers need to start having these conversations with their sons, so we know when they get there, hey, it's okay if you decide you want to date outside your race, but it's nothing against a Black woman. It's just, I like them.
Right.
I hear you. And you know what? I think a lot of people are running around with unhealed childhood trauma, and they're just projecting that shit on everybody.
Yes.
Like, you need a therapist. It ain't nobody's fault, especially if you keep going through go see a therapist.
You know what happened? The black girl they really didn't like them, and so then they went somewhere else, and now they mad.
That was but that's okay, because sometimes another group does accept you. You probably were the weird black kid, and listen, I've seen some weird black kids that if I was a middle schooler, I probably wouldn't, necessarily want to deal with.
Yeah,
because I came from the hood. So if you're not like, if you didn't have the street smarts, if you couldn't, talk the same lingo as me, I probably would have been like, okay, you're a little weird. It's okay. And listen, some black people, it's okay if you go over there. That's fine, because you like them. You're probably a techie, or a gamer, a emo. It's okay. Go over there if that's who's accepting you.
It's environmental too, though, because remember, if you grow up with these people, you kind of inherently have a lot of the same characteristics and traits.
You're gonna have you don't have a lot of things in common,
right? So we may not agree. We may not understand each other, and it may be okay, but just don't hate me. Just don't hate on me because you like her. It's cool.
So
I'm not the person that hurt you in elementary school. I'm not that person.
Right. Exactly.
And so we're not bashing white people, because I don't want to say we have white friends. No, I don't. But we're not bashing white people, because they are still human beings, and we're empathetic to that as well. However, our bottom line is, do not say that you don't want to date a black person because of negative stereotypes, biases, or just plain stupid ignorance. Right. Okay. If you love or are attracted to white people because of their beauty, the person's heart, because the person is compassionate and loving and does all of the great things for you, supports you, encourages you, etc., then by all means go ahead, but don't do it because you're trying to put black people
and
down.
Let me say, in Stacey's defense, we live in an area where there are not really a lot of white people. We have a lot of other nationalities and cultures.
We're in South Florida,
but it's not really a lot of real white people here.
No, it's not.
Oh, wow.
It's Hispanics. You was just here last week, Mr. Storm.
I was.
I hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the weather.
I ain't even gonna lie. I was just liking the vibes. I was just like, and I went and I was trying to act like a local, like I ain't dress up. I was just walking around just like whatever. I was in North Miami, so. Yeah,
it's easy to do that. We're born and raised here, so but you weren't in the real Miami. You was on that side of, back in the 80s, they didn't want us over there.
Wait, North Miami ain't the real Miami?
What depends on where area you consider North Miami. Don't go based off of the address.
We went past something called Miami Gardens.
Okay. So you said you went past it.
Yeah, it wasn't super far though, but we went past it.
Okay. So you were we'll say this, Storm. You rolled by. You rolled by.
I rolled by. Okay.
Next time you come to Miami, just hit us up so we can show you Miami.
Yes.
Miami.
Like the folks that live in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Not what they show you on TV.
Right.
Got you. Okay. Do you guys have like maybe 13 minutes left?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So do you mind taking calls?
Sure. Just be nice, y'all, please.
All right. So ground rules, people. They said Miami Gardens is not the real Miami. Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna leave that alone because I'm not actually from there. They'll debate that stuff all day.
They talk about like Carol City.
They talking about Carol City.
Carol City.
We know.
It's because it's a name change recent, like 10 years ago. But that's Miami.
If y'all want to say Carol City,
we can say Carol City.
Gotcha.
Where Rick Ross is from. Yeah.
Yes, I was gonna say I know I've heard of that. Mm-hmm. So, all right, ground rules. When you come up, please do not be playing us in the back. Please get right to your comment. And if you are disrespectful, we are going to. Well, I'm gonna just take you out. All right, we're not gonna attack our guests. All right.
Thank you.
All right. What's up, guys?
Hey, Storm.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, sir?
I am good. What you got for tonight's topic?
Okay, peace and blessings to everybody who is on the channel.
Absolutely. Let's talk there. Make sure you subscribe if you like that kind of content.
I just have a question.
Yes.
Based on everything that we as Black women have suffered through and have been through, to hear you ladies speak the way that you do, it's kind of mind-boggling to me. And me being divested was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. So when we talk about childhood traumas, we know that over 60% of women are sexually assaulted before the age of 18. We know that just last year, over 1,400 of us has perished by the hands of Black men. Why? And this is my main question, and then I'll go about my business. Why is it when a Black woman says that she wants to divest, we automatically assume that it's with a white European, Caucasian, Caucasus Mountain man?
I
Why
don't
do we not talk about the other men?
races. Well, I think we do that because it's usually always a black white thing. And I hear what you're saying, but I don't think we said up here that Black women only date white men, or I don't.
No, we didn't say only, but I do get you. I hear you, Goddess.
Yeah.
We did not mention other races as well. So you are absolutely correct. But I would say my commentary goes for what I said, at least, goes for all races when it comes to Black women dating other, non-Black people.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you, do what you got to do and be happy. That's what I'm gonna say. Be happy.
As long as that person is respecting you culturally, if that's what you're into, then by far, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for that. But what culture do we have in the Black community?
That's a good question. I'm gonna let them answer that because I've been trying to figure that out too.
So I think it really depends upon like what nationality you are. I would say as a Black American, I will be honest and say there's a struggle with our cultural identity because we don't know where we're from. But as I said earlier, my husband is Haitian. There's no struggle with his cultural identity. He believes, he says he's Haitian. He knows his food. He knows his music. So it depends on where you are from that you may say, I struggle with my cultural identity. Now, if we want to go deep and say, but we don't know where we're from Africa, I don't know, but it depends on your nationality, your cultural background. When you say what culture do we have, because Stacey
and I'm gonna say this, Goddess, although I've always tried to say like what is American Black culture, I am gonna say this: we literally do inspire the world, whether you realize it or not. People over in Africa, they copy our fashions. People in Europe, people in Asia. You see what those teenagers are doing in Japan, in Tokyo and stuff.
And I
and now they like copying the hair too. It's just like we really.
And I 100% agree with you. So would you not say that our culture is everyone's culture? See, I've dated African men. I've dated African men, and I know that. I'll just give you a scenario. Right. I was dating a man from Sudan. And we were in a relationship for about a year. And I kept having dreams about another woman. And we as Black women, we know about our dreams.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we are very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept feeling the presence of another woman. And I brought it up to him. And this man told me when his uncle died, he was betrothed to his cousin.
Oh.
His cousin.
Oh.
So when I first divested, that's what I divested to. I divested to the African man because I've been told that they're better than the African American man.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously he wasn't. And a lot of African American women have run into that where they come over here, they use our resources, they come up and they have wives over in other countries, or they are betrothed to other women, especially their cousins, because they do that a lot over there, if you know the culture. And I just want that we as Black women, we stick together, we love each other, we adore each other, and we allow each other to be happy because we haven't been happy for a long time.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Goddess. Was that black African culture, Sudanese culture, or was that Muslim culture?
That's a good
He
question.
was all of them. He was a Muslim.
I
Was,
don't know. They could have been some Muslim stuff. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Well, no, even in the Bible, if you ever read it, you can actually marry your cousin. I was married to a black man. I've been married 3 times. I'm just going to put that out there. I have no shame of telling anyone that. And the first man that I married was an Egyptian man. Okay. And the women in my family, the mammies, because I'm not going to call them women. I married a doctor at 19 years old. And the women in my family did everything in their power to make me feel like crap because I married this man. So I can come from both ends and tell you what's going on.
Right, right.
And his culture.
I'm just gonna say.
Hold on, let me finish. In his culture, as
no, ma'am, this is my show.
I was just still making a point because I wanted to tell you about the Egyptian culture because I was married to him for 15 years.
I understand, but I'm the host. This is my show. I have to be able to interject.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't mean no harm. You long-winded, and it's taking a while to get there. I got to keep the people entertained too.
You're fine.
I don't want to say that's an African thing. I feel like that was more religious. But go ahead.
That's when I was going to tell you, even in my first husband's culture as being an Egyptian, they do the same thing over there. However, he chose not to. He was betrothed to his cousin as well. But he denied that and he didn't want to do it. But the fact that the African man wanted to do that and he kept her over there as a virgin and humble and sending his money over there to her, you come over here and you take me to a Mercedes dealership and you want me to go ahead and get you a van so you can do deliveries. But as I told him, why not allow the men in your family to help you? Why are you over here using American?
What he was doing, he was looking at childless licks is what he was doing.
Yeah.
That's what that was. So I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was definitely, that was a lick, baby. That was a lick. Jones, you up?
Hey, Storm. Hey, ladies. How y'all doing?
We're good.
Hi, Jones.
Oh, good. Hope I'm finding everybody well tonight. I was scrolling through and I saw y'all I saw black women on the screen and I was like, let me drop in and see what's going on. And I was just listening to y'all conversation and it was interesting. I'm going to try and make this quick. I agree with a lot of the things that you say. But one thing I'm never going to do is trade what somebody thinks for my experience. Now, I am a black woman. I'm a dark black woman. And when I was young, from probably the time that I was probably 12 to about 17, I only dated white men. Strictly only dated white men because white men were what was interested in me. Not so much because I did not want a black man. Black men weren't interested in me. I was too dark. So to be quite honest, I was treated quite masculine. So I was very black male minded by the time I got ready to start dating. So I was dating white men for the same reason that black men date white women, because I was mad, because I thought I was going to show them something. And when I saw the anger on black men's faces when they saw me with white men, it took me a while and getting older and reflecting to realize that that's what I was doing, that I was participating from a broken place. From you don't want me, but you have an issue when I know this makes you mad. You should be mad. Look how nice he is to me. Look how great he thinks my skin is. I have no idea what's going on in this white boy head for why he chose me. I don't know what his issue is. I didn't know what was going on. But when you're young, you don't care about that. You just want somebody to feel some type of way about you. You just want to be validated. And most of us never lose that need for validation, not just from our own, but from anywhere we can get it eventually, because we're taught to crave it, to buy it, to purchase it, to turn our selves inside out for it. So you'll do whatever. So when I got older, I started going back. And once Foxy Brown hit the scene in like the mid 90s and I was in Lauryn Hill and I was considered attractive, then all of a sudden, black men started being more attractive.
Is my mic working? Is my mic working tonight?
We hear you.
Is the mic working tonight?
Whatever. But I had seen how these men did women.
Y'all, she's still going. She's still going. You got to be able to respond. Y'all can't go for that long.
That was not my fault. That was the fault of the people around me that should have been protecting me, but they didn't know enough to.
I'm sorry. Oh Lord, it dropped. It dropped. I'm so sorry.
Storm, what I will say in regards to a little bit of what she said, remember what I said earlier. That's why I have conversations with my son now, letting him understand the difference between, although you have a light-skinned sister and a dark-skinned sister, they're both beautiful women. So you're not coming out looking at, oh, just the light skin or the dark skin or whatever. You know, it sounds like she was dealing with from a very hurt place.
Yeah.
What I would say is I hope that she has since healed from that. Yes. And is in the process of healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too, because I could hear the pain. I can hear the pain. And I don't think nobody can hear me tonight, apparently. All right, next caller. Khadijah, can you hear us?
Hi, Storm. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I just wanted to ask the women on the panel a couple questions, or maybe one question if we got time. And my thing is how come these? Let me just give my demographic. I'm a dark-skinned Black woman in my mid-20s, and I'm a truck driver, and yeah. So how come Black men feel like they can say that they want a woman with no kids, and I also don't have no kids. I don't understand how they can say that. I really feel when they attack single mothers, and they try to, you know, like when they do try to uplift Black women and say stuff like, oh, the single mothers, you know, or the ones that ain't got no kids. That's when I want, mind you, these be the same goddamn Black men with a whole bunch of baby mamas, probably with the intentions of making me one of their baby mamas too, and I have a problem with it.
Okay, so
what's your question?
I think she's saying how because the thing online of what people say is once you have kids, it affects your value, your sexual marketplace value, all that stuff. So what she's saying is a lot of dudes are saying, I don't want a woman with kids, be having kids themselves. And I'm gonna just mute you, Khadijah, real quick. Yeah. There's something going on in the back. All right, so that's what she's saying. Like, why is it that the Black men saying, I don't want you if you got kids, but they be having kids?
That wouldn't be the demand for me. I wouldn't be interested in him if that's the train of thought that he's on. So he's already, you know, X'd out of my you know, my energy, my space. So don't date him.
And people have, and so let me say this: people have a preference, right? It may be wrong, but people have a preference. And what did I say? As long as your preference is not downing or degrading someone, I don't think they should degrade a single mother, especially if you're a person. But people have what they kind of want, what they prefer. For me, I wouldn't prefer a man who doesn't want someone with kids and I have kids, because I need to know you're going to treat my kids well. So that's cut you right there. That's in the discussion. We're gone. We're done. When you say, you know, because you got kids, we done with this conversation, because I need to think for that.
Yes, but look at it this way, Khadijah.
But even if you also okay,
hold on. Even if you go through 200-300, you only got to find one.
Yep.
You only gotta find one. So, all right, what you don't like? All right, cool. Next,
let's move on.
Yes, but that's the problem. Okay, when you that's the problem. Okay, so also when I heard that we have too much of a high standard and all this, it's like I really had to shoot that down, because I have standards, but I don't feel like my standards are high. If I'm making 100,000, I should have a man that makes 100,000. I feel like that's how I feel about it, because I make 100,000.
Khadijah, can you? Okay, so financially, you want a man with who makes a lot of money. What are some of your other standards? Because listen, it's nothing wrong with that. We as women, we want security. We want to make sure that our lights are not going to get turned off on us. We want to make sure that we have a roof over our head. We want to make sure that we can go on vacation and come back and don't have to be thinking like, oh my gosh, I spent all my rent money on vacation. So there's nothing wrong with that. However, what are your other standards? besides the financial stuff?
I really, just don't down women. That's another thing. That's a
Okay.
usually you start to see that in a black man, that I dated, especially in my generation. When they get mad, then they start to down you. They start to say the stuff that you heard when you was in elementary school about African booty scratcher and all that stuff. So I can bet them all day. I can find one that's lieutenant in the military. I can find a high value so-called man, and they still gonna have the same sentiment as these broke down, raggedy ass motherfuckers. So
hold on with the cursing. I want the video monetized.
You know what I'm saying? It's really hard out here. And
can we give you a word of advice, Khadijah?
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. We feel you. Go ahead.
So let them give you word of advice before we close
I'm really
out.
venturing off. Okay.
So here is what I would say, right? And this is, and I'm going to say this in the best way that I possibly can. If every man that you meet is doing the exact same thing, then there is something that you're putting off that's attracting these types of men. Mm-hmm. And so we need to figure out what type of men are we attracting, right? Because sometimes we do. If you notice a woman who's always in an abusive relationship, for some reason, she's always attracting a man that's abusive.
Not to blame,
right?
Not to victim blame.
But we want to identify, because sometimes we have to step back and say, okay, what are some things that I'm doing that I need to work on to change so that I'm not presenting myself like this with other people? And again, because if every person you meet is doing this, I would have to.
I'm gonna have to call Cap.
Cap on what? Cap on what, Khadijah?
She's saying Cap.
Because I did the vetting. I did the vetting. I did the cutting these, finding what was the similarities in these men and vetting. The only thing that I was not doing is venturing out.
Okay, so Khadijah,
the only thing I wasn't doing was venturing outside my race.
Okay, all right, now let them respond. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to ask. Okay, so you did the vetting. Now that it has not worked out, what could you have done, or could you have seen that you probably didn't necessarily see? What questions could you have asked? What lesson did you learn from it? Because it's okay. Listen, we're women. We've been there, done that. But the operative word is we've done that. Therefore, we're no longer in that position. So my question is, what did you learn from vetting these men? And even after you did the best that you can, because I would hate to believe that you purposely just was blind.
I learned that they all I learned that they're all the same. And I'm going to venture out and I'm going to find me a Mr. Lee. Okay. So that's what I've learned.
Okay. So then I say go for it. This is what I would say. Like we said earlier, we're not black men bashers, because I would say I think I have a pretty decent husband. Yeah. Everybody needs work. We all need work, but I think I have a pretty decent husband. And so it did take for me to do some self searching within me to say I'm not going to continue along the track that I was on, attracting certain types of people in my life. I knew what I wanted and where I wanted to go. And there were certain things that I said in the beginning of this relationship that put standards there. And so someone being abusive to me was straightened out from the beginning. And again, I say the word abusive because if someone is saying certain things to you, that's called verbal abuse. Yep. That was a standard I set from the beginning. No matter how angry we get, you're not going to verbally abuse me.
Because that's how it starts. Once they start doing that, then they start pushing you. Then they start pushing you. Then they punch it.
I say venture off, boo.
Khadijah, if you felt as if you learned a valuable lesson, with all due respect, Khadijah, I don't know, you don't know me, but I doubt that you've learned a full lesson, because we still hear the hurt in your voice. So I think there's still some more processing, some more work that you have to do. You may have learned that one lesson, but I still think that you need to work through it a little bit more so that you can be fully whole and healed of whatever these black men did to you, so that you can go to your Mr. Lee and be in a healthy relationship. And we, with all love, we say that, Khadijah, because you are us. you know, 10,
Thank you,
15 years
Khadijah.
ago.
You have a good night. All right. All right, Jones, we're gonna try this again. We was trying to talk to you and it
I
was
couldn't
out
hear
of
nothing on this end. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear y'all.
Okay, all right. So I forgot where we left off on the comment, but I'll let you go ahead. I ain't gonna interrupt you. Go ahead.
I don't even remember. So what I'm just gonna say is what I did learn from dating men of whatever race was that people are going to be people. And yes, your culture has something to do with how you go about life and how you interact with the world. But eventually, at some point, it's a personal decision. When I got ready to start dating black men, they thought I was beautiful. They didn't treat me any better. They were just saying I look good. They weren't treating me any better. So I felt like, okay, well, why do I need this black man in my life? They say, oh, well, you need protection by black men. But then my experience taught me I needed protection from black men. It was black men that were tearing up my neighborhoods. It was black men that were shooting up the places that I like to go. It was black men that were emotionally harming me. I wasn't really in contact with other cultures to be hurt by them like that. And when people keep saying, oh, you're hurt. So the hell what? Who gonna check me about my pain? That nobody ever listened to and nobody ever validated. I can be hurt. And keep it 100. Y'all hurt too. I'm looking at the comments. You resonating because you hurt. And it's okay. It's okay to. So you know what I did do? I stopped looking for a man, period. I closed my legs. I closed my legs and I kept that energy for myself. I learned how to do anything that I would need a man to do. And it doesn't matter how somebody else feels about that. You can perceive me however it makes you comfortable to perceive me. But y'all perceptions of me have been harmful to me. That's just the truth of the matter. If your perceptions have been harmful to me, then maybe that's a power you weren't supposed to have.
Right.
And take that back.
You know, as black women, as your sisters, we're so sorry that you went through that. We definitely empathize it. That wasn't my experience with black men, so that's not my story. But I believe you. You know, if you say that it happened and that's how it made you feel, I truly believe you. And I'm so sorry that it happened to you and that, you know, black men has given you that perception. But it's nothing wrong with closing your legs. Sometimes, like you said, you need to reserve that energy for yourself and be in a better, healthier position so that if you are open to love in the future, whatever color the person is, that you will be fully healed and whole. But you know, we're so sorry that happened to you.
Right.
Yeah, things are getting better, but like I said, it takes work. And it wasn't just about the secondary experience. It was about, it's kind of like people keep saying, well, black men are this, black men are that, black men are doing this, black men. I'm like, well, then why are you still giving it your energy? Your biggest flex as a woman is not putting your hands on a situation. I've learned that it's taking your hands off. Take your hands off these situations. If people don't believe they really need you, if they don't believe that what you bring is valuable, then you start taking that away and denying access. So I just had to start denying access because, yeah, we can say, oh, these black men are this, they're that. Then why are you still with them? Well, just don't procreate with them. No, don't give them anything, because even if a baby doesn't come from that, do you know what type of energy these men are pumping on you? You know what type of trauma they're pumping into your body? You don't know the difference between your issue and that man issue. And we running around here calling you crazy.
Yes.
Nobody like to talk about them conversations. Nobody like to talk about the deep, dark places it takes you being just a woman, just trying to move around out here, and knowing you're not protected, knowing anybody can do anything to you at any time, whether you're on the street, whether you're in corporate America, no matter where you're at, you know that everything around you has been taught to harm you, to take from you, that you're not worthy, that you're just Henrietta Lack. You're just here for them to pick pieces off of you to save whatever it is that they want to do and then give you nothing for it. Keep it for yourself. You don't have to have nothing against nobody, just don't have nothing for them. I'm hurt, which is why the best thing I can do for black men, because I love you, is to leave you alone right now. I love you enough to leave you alone. I'm not approaching you. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm not at the club. I'm nowhere where you might even think that that's what I'm trying to do. I love you enough to leave you alone because you're broken too. And men are always behind women. So that means somehow we're supposed to be waiting for y'all to catch up, I guess. I don't know. All I know is that I couldn't live another day like that. So I closed my mouth. I closed my door. I closed my legs and decided, what do I need a man for now? And as I met the needs they say a man is supposed to meet for me, it made me very clear on what I wanted a man for. So I know very clearly what I'm looking for. And if I don't see that in you, then I know how to keep it pushing, because I know there's something on the other side of a man. But when patriarchy says as a woman, you only got till 35, that put a lot of stuff in overdrive for a lot of women, and you make a lot of mistakes because you don't have time. After 35, no man, no marriage. Oh, you're done for anyway. They don't give us no time to learn. They don't give us no time to figure it out. for us to be healthy. And if you're talking about be a man's peace, from where? I ain't never experienced no peace. What I'm supposed to know? How I'm supposed to know? How I'm supposed to be or provide what I ain't never experienced in my life?
So, Jones, if I can come in, and remember what we said earlier when we talked about getting to know yourself and healing you first. And we talked about sometimes you have to take moments and say, you know what, let me figure out who I am, what things hurt me, and how I can process and proceed from there. I did hear you say you are currently working through some of your traumas, and that is amazing and that is awesome. And what I would tell you is to continue, because like you said, we all have some traumas, we all have some generational things that we brought on, and we have to deal with those things. Not only Black men, but in all people, white people, Asian people, whatever people, we have those traumas that we brought on with us, we're carrying with us. And we also are connecting those traumas to the men that we are being with as well. So we have to take time. Like, I hear you now. You're in a season of growing. You're in a season of healing you. And I am all for it. I believe before you move to a next stage where you're in a relationship with someone, when you're ready to give your all, you have to first make sure you're whole enough to give your all, or to give you to a person. You can't give a broken you to a person and expect a whole person back. You need to make sure you're full, you're whole, you're working towards those things. And like you said, there are triggers. Sometimes we don't know we're triggered. We could be talking to Storm right now and he can say something that triggers me, and it is not Storm's fault. I have to deal with why that triggered me. Why is what he's saying triggering me? And once I heal me enough, I'm okay with saying, Storm, that was such and such and such, and moving on. His opinion, what he says, I can't make it my do or die, because I have to continue to thrive and live and do my thing. So I would tell you to continue to do the work, continue to work on you, continue to heal, and then be open to whatever happens later on, but continue to first heal yourself.
Yes, just wanting to be me. Just wanting to be me. It may not be with a man. I just want to be me.
And that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna thank you for coming on tonight. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good night. Peace to y'all.
You too.
Peace. Yeah, she has a lot of healing to do. She has, but that's okay.
Yes, a lot of us.
We all do.
We all do. We all do. And it's like, I don't know, but of course y'all don't, but it's like once you start peeling back the layers of that onion, you be like, oh damn, this is gonna be a lot of work. And
sometimes it's things you don't even remember. You get in there and you're like, oh, that's why that used to bother me so much. Everyone has their things. And I'm gonna give a quick little. I remember when my husband and I were dating. Growing up, my mom was in an abusive relationship. Physically, emotionally, mentally, however you want to put it, it was happening. And I remember saying to myself, I will never, ever, ever be that person. And so I'm going to use Stacey's hand. But when you grab someone by their wrist, that would make me enraged. And I remember there was an incident. My husband and I were in a Home Depot before he was my husband. And a man was saying something, and I was being flipped at the mouth because I didn't know how to let a man handle stuff. I was getting jizzy with the man. And my husband proceeded to grab my wrist and move me out the way. I literally lost my mind in the Home Depot, called my mama. Oh, he put his hands on me. I was going hysterical. And then I realized, and he was telling my mom, I would never. He showed my mom, and I realized that's my trauma. That ain't that man trauma. I overreacted. He was in a place of trying to protect me, but I couldn't see it because I had never seen it before. I had only saw men hurt. So I then had to deal with, and let me be honest with y'all, still dealing with, after being married to my husband a very long time. Why that bothers me so. I'm still not at the place where I go crazy about it, but my husband knows if he wants to get out my nerve, just grab my wrist and it does something to me, but that is not his issue. That is a me issue. That is a trauma that I have to deal with in understanding, okay, that bothers me because this is what I saw in that. He didn't intentionally do that. I have to talk myself through this because it'll be unfair to him for me to be going crazy on him and going off and expecting you should have known. And he should not have.
No, you're right. All right, Empress. Empress, can you hear us? Yeah, she's listening in the back. Hold on, I ain't gonna kick her off. I'm just put her down. What's going on, Melinda?
Oh, hey there. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you tonight.
Yeah, hey, this is what I want to say. I wrote a few things down. I know I came late, but I just heard a few things like, in the last, I guess, few minutes. And the first thing I wanted to say was, let's see. Someone mentioned being a whole person before you get married. And this is kind of what I've never been married, but I want to say this. I think as Black women, we kind of have these standards, like, well, you got to be a whole person. Other people just, because of the conditioning, because of the culture, they just get a husband and they get married. It's not about a whole person. See, again, we have these standards, like we're not good enough. Like you got to be the whole person. With the divorce rates, who's a whole person getting married? That's the first thing. I just think that because we don't have the numbers and we don't have the marriageable men, eligible marriage, we say these things to each other like we're not worthy. That was the first thing. And the second thing is, let me see. It says someone love. I'm sorry, y'all. Black women love. Okay, this is when it comes to standards, we typically have higher standards for other men and lower standards for Black men. That's just the conditioning. That's just the culture. I'm 48 years old, and this is just how I was raised. We kind of have, the standard is lower, so we have to meet kind of like our men where they are. And Storm, what I'm saying, I feel like you're a stellar dude. I've listened to you for a little while now. I met you through Sins, but so I want to say this.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think you are, and it's just not a lot of guys like you. I think you have some depth and you get it. But at the same time, but I think you mentioned you were, learning, and you're going to, through therapy, and you're learning, about yourself and your history.
Yeah, it's taking a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. But I want to say too, I think that we all, let me see. Wait, just a second. Third thing. Let me see why we. I'm so sorry, y'all. I wrote this fast because I was trying to.
You good? You
okay,
good?
all right. Thank you, y'all.
So if I can say while you're looking over your notes,
yes.
When I said about being a whole person, I didn't say to be married, because apparently I wasn't a whole person when I was married. What we're saying is when you start to do the work, when you're in the process of realizing, okay, I have all of these issues I need to deal with. That could be in marriage, outside of marriage. The young lady before, she just happened to be in a place where she wasn't married, and she was saying she was single and just healing her. And so I'm saying, make sure you're whole enough that everything a person does and says does not affect you so drastically.
How about this?
So I don't want to put out there that we believe you have to be a whole person. Another thing
because you'll always be doing the work for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
We'll be constantly being re-traumatized. Things will constantly be coming back up. Listen, when you have children, that may cause some other issues. Ailing parents, that may cause other issues. So for the rest of our life, we will always constantly have to do the work. So will we ever truly, be whole?
That's what I say, y'all. I know this is because I've been an RN for 25 years now. February 4th to make 25 years. I've been a registered nurse.
Congrats.
What I want to say is this, and I've been in with psych nursing, all kind of nursing. What I want to say is, I think that with the culture, with the us getting help and the self-help culture, I understand what you all are saying, but what I think that we've made it too difficult. We have made hierarchies for wellness. And that's the thing. So when we talk about, the work and stuff, look, we all got stuff, and we need to work on it. I'm just I'm so glad that I'm at a place where I see the dysfunction of our community, and I get that, but people were marrying at age whatever, and they did it, and they made it. I'm not saying everything was perfect. So please look, because never been married. But what I'm saying is this. When I see other people, because of culture, they know that the power of coupling, they understand that. They know that it's about wealth. They know it's about raising your children. Listen, we're working on something different. We're working with something like, are you good enough to be a wife? Are you full? So it's a whole different. We're working on a whole different in a whole different paradigm. And I think that what we're speaking of is a little bit different too. It's a worthiness issue with us.
Right.
Meanwhile, marriage to other people is just, it's just what you do. It's what you do. And they make it and they build. We're not doing that. We're looking at are you worthy enough?
And what I would say to that is, think about a lot of these other cultures, they have arranged marriages. We don't.
No. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not even culture. I'm saying that the people who cultures could just be, let's say, we have
hold on, let
let's say even Americans. Look at the racially. Racially, people are different.
So what I would say is we're also in a season to where it's easier to leave. We're telling people we can leave when you're not happy versus back in the day when they would tell you to stay and hang in there. So I agree 100%. I think marriage is a contract. Marriage is a way to build wealth. Marriage is a way for the Black community to get out of a lot of the places that we are in. But we have to understand that. And that's something that we're not taught. So
but there used to be that. So what I'm saying is, what about the culture? What about the culture that's telling men that they don't have to marry? And what about the culture that's telling women you have to compete for a man?
Don't listen to people on YouTube and take that for.
No. But I'm 48, Storm. So I've lived this. I'm not talking about people on YouTube. I'm a woman who's this is our culture. I'm telling you. So I can step away from the people on YouTube. But I know this is the truth.
So Melinda, if you don't mind me asking, why were you never married? What's your story?
Oh, why was I never married? I think because now I was raised by my grandmother, and my grandmother had retired and she took me in. She was a retired nurse. She took me in. I became a nurse too. I think that my grandmother was like, she says, Melinda, she says, I wish that I could have had the education, that I'm, giving you, that I think that my grandmother was kind of like, if we could have traded places, I would have been someone who was a housewife and stuff and not have all this, work as a nurse. And
Mm-hmm.
she would have been, she was a career person. She feels like she got married because, she was in the country. When I say the country, I just meant like the deeper parts of we're from the South. She felt like that. She felt like she was wanting to be that. And I just think that she kind of instilled in us and a lot of the grandchildren that, like, let's say people getting pregnant, like it was failure. So she was like, just, become a career, do that. And she says, but if you do, I want you to have a husband. If you ever have kids, have a husband. But it kind of like that, like inoculated me from some of the foolishness and stuff. But that's what I feel. But I was engaged, I've been engaged before, dated and loved and have been loved, but I don't know. But we all, either the women in my family was married late, like in their 40s and stuff.
So remember what you said, and we talked about this on an episode of our show as well, about Black women, when we have kids or our parents are telling us to get an education, do this, go to school, get your degree, get a job, don't worry about a man. And
no, because you can't depend on a man. That was it. It was because you can't depend on. That's kind of true though. Sadly,
that's from her.
And see, and this is my thing. It is unfair when we say because you can't depend on a man. Because what if I just happen to get a man that I truly can depend on, but you've ingrained me that I can't?
I've never had that though. But I think they were right about that. I think that they were right about that. You can't.
And again, you're speaking from your experience because I'm a married woman. She's a married woman.
Okay.
And I can depend.
I've had men but it was literally everyone I was choosing. Then maybe I chose who I couldn't depend on. Maybe that.
And I think, and again, when we said we don't want to degrade,
look at the statistics. That kind of bears that out, though. Statistics bear it out.
Yeah.
Right. I think we have to realize that Black men have trauma too. Black men are dealing with things too. I remember how well you addressed Storm and what he's doing. And guess what? Storm is doing the work. Storm talks about seeing a therapist. Storm is doing work. So,
and Storm is open and honest with, the things that he has.
Exactly. But how many storms are there? How many storms?
A lot. That's the thing. You all aren't understanding. Storm is not an anomaly. No,
it sort of is, but okay.
Hey, no take it.
There are a lot of dudes like Storm. That is not so uncommon.
Because most Black men that are married most of them are married to Black women and have loving. And then what was the statistic? Black men that are married are into, they're like, a lot of families are in 2-parent homes.
What's the percentage? What's the percentage of married Black men?
I ain't gonna lie, because I don't know hardly none.
Right, exactly. So you're right. Most of them who are married, they might be married, but the percentage is low.
But
so
from
I'm just
our
saying,
experience, we are around people who are in seemingly.
I know, but what's the percentage?
I can't tell you the percentage. Right. Can you tell us the percentage that's not?
I would say more than half of them probably aren't married, and I've done the research and I've done the calculation. So I'm thinking,
right?
You make a good point. I grew up, I'm in a sorority. I was in sorority. All this, my family was in, but I didn't see. I saw that, but when I got into college and I was seeing less and less of that. So I'm just saying, even with, let's say, the single motherhood rate.
Hold on, I looked it up.
Okay, look it up. Look it up. The marriage rates of Black men. I guess African American.
As of 2019, 33% of Black men were married. 3%,
wow.
3% married but legally separated. 10% divorced. Only 3% widowed. And the other 52, they just never got married.
Right. So that's more than half of Black men aren't married. So that means a lot of Black women who are waiting on Black men aren't married.
Out of those,
so I just want you at least
how many like women? Because we have to take that out too.
Well.
You have to take out of the 52%, how many like women? How many are heterosexual men?
Okay, so that's even so you prove my point. That's even less. So that's even less for Black women who are marriage minded to find Black men.
Percent of is the men that like women. And again, we can't tell you your experience.
Ma'am, I'm telling you, but forget my experience, but look at the statistics.
Statistics aren't necessarily, I don't.
So I'm just saying. So again, we know how many are married. So again, but Eliab, thank you for what you've done. Thank you, Storm. You're hilarious. I've listened to your
or in prison. So we have to.
Right, that's even less. So that's even fewer men available to Black women who are looking for marriage.
So the question I would ask is the available Black men, because
okay, ma'am, so now we got to struggle. That's just struggle stuff.
So let's say we got 40, 45, 40.
That's not 45% of Black men. That's less.
I didn't finish. So I was saying, let's say if we take the percentage that's gay, let's just, since we're kind of guesstimating, the percentage that are in prison, because there is a high number of Black men in prison. Let's just say that we have 50% of Black men left, right? The other 50, we're going to say are in jail or gay. We got 50% left. 30% of 30, what percent?
33.
33% of those are married. That's a pretty good number.
First of all, no, that's not a good number. And I think your math is way off. I know this because I do calculations. It's way off. So it's even less than that, ma'am. So and then you have to double the amount of eligible Black women. So let's not do that. No, there's no 50% of the Black male populace who's available for marriage. That's even less.
So I looked
if you're telling you that only 30% are marrying,
only.
Where are you getting these numbers?
Well, hold on. For the women, 27% were married in 2019
because they desire Black men. So they marry less because they're waiting on Black men.
4% separated, 13% divorced, 8% widowed, but then 48% never married. So basically, for both, it's over 50% that just
and that's too because Black women wait on Black men. But again, no other woman is facing this, is what I'm saying. So we keep on having these kind of stipulations. With a Black woman, you got to be this, you got to be that. Well, what if you have this? I'm just telling you, the numbers don't make sense.
The
numbers aren't in favor of Black women. So what are Black women supposed to do?
Open your options.
We don't hate Black men. I don't hate Black men.
Open your options. If I want to be married, then I'm gonna have to start opening my options, like Black men opening their options.
Yeah, they do. They have, and they don't no qualms about it. But thank you, y'all, for this. Okay, I didn't mean to be argumentative. Thank you.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, bye.
You weren't argumentative. You was actually passionate. All right, Empress, are you ready? Going once,
but not again.
Here we go. You ready? You can look, y'all can't watch the show in the back, and also you have to just stay on and wait because now it's like a 30-second delay. So we're gonna.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear y'all. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
you're,
Guys. Okay.
you're good. You're good. So welcome to the show. You are the last caller for tonight. We're going to wrap up with you. So what you got for us tonight?
Okay, last but not least. Okay, so I wanted to ask the ladies and you too, Storm,
For sure.
what do you guys think is an appropriate time frame of healing before you date again if you're a widow?
Oh, wow.
That was our last one.
Mm-hmm.
That was our last show.
That's the hard one. I'm going to let the ladies say that because I don't know.
So, like I said, that was the last episode we did. We talked about what's Nene leaks and what was the appropriate time to wait. And honestly, we came up with we can't give you an appropriate time. It is the work that you're doing and how you feel, where you are in that relationship. I mean, in that healing process. Some people take longer than others. I would just say make sure that you have dove into what your real emotions are and that you are ready. For me, I think I would need to be single at least 2 years. Because I need a process. I need to make, if I have children, I need to make sure my children are okay. I need to make sure I'm fully kind of healed from this and not bringing someone else in, comparing them. Oh, my husband would have did it like this. Or my husband would have did it like that. But again, it's up to you because some people are older and might feel like I don't have 2 years to wait.
Be wasting.
So I can do this quicker.
And I hate to say it. I know I wasn't gonna say no, but I gotta say this. I hate to say it, but also when you expect someone to die and you go through that process with them, by the time they finally pass, you've already done some healing. I ain't saying you over it, but you've already done some healing. So
yeah, that's similar to what I said. You've already began grieving. If it was anticipated death, you already started to grieve before the person passed away. Not to necessarily say that you are healed once you put them down in the ground, because I'm quite sure, and we were talking about Nene specifically, where, you know, she's dating this new guy and people are, you know, talking trash about her dating this guy, etc. I personally don't see a problem with anyone dating, you know, shortly after, especially a woman, because we know that these men do it all the time.
Yeah, they do. They move right along. They
move right on along because they need someone to take care of these kids or take care of this house or take care of me. So I don't see a problem with it. You know when you are ready, you know, and still, even if you give yourself a 2-year time frame, you may still break down. You may still have your husband's photo hanging on your wall. You may still think about your husband, you know. So we can't give you a time frame specifically. You should know when you are ready and be realistic about it. Don't let him be a maintenance man or a rebound person. You want to make sure that you're truly ready for love again. And most of the time, if your husband was a good man, the other dude probably, you know, it's still going to be a little bit, it's not going to be what your first husband was. But as long as you feel like you're ready, and then go ahead, go for it whenever.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have one more question. So what if you're dating somebody and you both like each other, but you don't want them to meet your kids? And they ask, like, after a year.
Where are you?
But why? Wait a minute. That's a better question. Why? After a year, why?
Because if we're not talking about marriage, it's not going to last forever. So why are you meeting my kids?
Oh, well, he'll tell them just like that. That's what I'm
saying. So that was your answer.
Yeah.
You communicate that. I don't think we're serious enough for you to meet my kids yet. I don't feel we're serious enough. And then when he asks why, explain why. You have to communicate what you want. And remember, we don't have to just do it because someone else wants us to. This is your life and these are your children. You communicate what you want, what your expectations are. You can meet my kids when this and this has occurred. And then I think we're serious enough for you to meet my kids.
Just like that.
Okay, and my next question is, Storm, I saw that video on Instagram and you wouldn't answer my question. You're not off the hook. I want to know, who is the stroke game for? Is it for alligator dates? Is it for personal dates? Is it for a special lady? Yep, I told you I was going to get you.
Listen, I'm not going to kiss and tell, but yeah. It was that was a lit night. I'm going to just say that.
Look, their eyes got so big when I asked y'all that question. Y'all wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that. Because I remember your comment. I just cleaned out my Instagram. But I remember your comment. I was in Miami when I tell you, like, don't nothing really close. Like, it's just open. And I think I was downtown Miami. And them drinks was a little bit stronger than what
Well, that's all. That's all the questions I want to ask. I want to hold y'all up all night. And I enjoyed the show. And I hope y'all do this again. It was interesting.
Thank you, Empress.
Have a good one. So, ladies, it has been fun. I want you guys to actually plug your channel one more time before we close out.
It's right here. Let's Talk Lavie on YouTube, Instagram. We're on
TikTok.
What's the other one? TikTok. All of the platforms. Let's Talk Lavie.
So now, come join our little family.
Yes. Now, when y'all get big, don't forget about me. Now,
we could never like.
There's an S.
And let me just plug Storm. We did, like he said, we did a consultation with him. He went through our page. When I say like with a fine-tooth comb, y'all, gave us some suggestions. We started doing it and we saw growth immediately. And so what I would say is take him up. We are looking at his little books to order to continue to grow our page. We thank him for this opportunity. We love him just as he is on here. When he is on there going through your page, he's real, authentic, and we love that. So we appreciate you, Storm.
Yes.
I appreciate that too. And I got more books to drop. I'll probably type them up this weekend. It's a whole bunch more. It's so much with this YouTube stuff. It is. But ladies, I appreciate it. It worked out. I think this was even better. This worked out well.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. A month in waiting.
A month, but you know what? It was worth it.
It was worth it.
So, ladies, you take care and we'll be in touch, all right?
Thank you, Storm, and thank you, Storm Chasers.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I think this was fun tonight. I totally think this was fun. All right. So you can find me everywhere. Storm Monroe on IG. You put in Storm Monroe. No, you put in the Tatted Nerd, and I should definitely pop up. But other than that, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I don't think I'm gonna come back live tonight, but I definitely see you guys tomorrow, and I will catch you guys later.